Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Today, I want to talk about the astrology for June 20th. And so we are in the final quarter of this lunar phase that started on May 30th. Of course, there are lots of longer lunar phases. You know me, I love to talk about the lunar gestation phase. I'll do that over on Patreon more than here. But that lunar gestation phase started back on March, got the date right here, March 24th, 2020, right? You remember back then? Yeah, the whole world was shutting down. Most of it had by then. So we're going to talk about just today's lunar phase, though, because that's such a long story, the other one. It really is. And being in that final lunar phase, and the moon and the sun are both at 29 degrees. And these are really significant placements. So I'm going to talk about this overall energy that we all can use. So it does not matter what your sun sign, moon sign, rising sign is. That is not relevant in this type of forecast. And when I do the forecast, let me share my screen with you. And with this forecast as well, I don't use the ascendant, the midheaven, and I don't talk about the house placements because I'm just talking about this moment in time, certain transits throughout the day. And we're talking about Monday, June 20th, that we're all feeling, and that the planets in the sky are representing the energy that we all have available to us. However, we're all going to use it in a different way. It's no different than like a cookie, the cooking shows where everybody gets the same ingredients, but everybody makes something different. That's what this type of forecast is. That's what I hope to be doing for you. I'm going to tell you what's available, and then you're going to decide how you're going to use it. Thank you for sending. That's how I'm going to use this. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then if you're new here, welcome. And don't forget to hit subscribe. You're welcome to share this in any of your social groups. We also do Astrodice at the end because it's fun. And I always ask for a little extra message from spirit, and sometimes it contributes to the astrology of the day, or confirms the astrology of the day, or it gives us a completely different message. And then a card from here, because I love the natural spirit, the nature spirit, and I got Taurus rising, Capricorn moon. I'm very earthy, and I love earthy things. So that deck is just my fave. All right. So this is what this last quarter moon looks like. Here is the sun at 29 Gemini and the moon at 29 Pisces. Yeah. And it is in a sextile to Pluto. And the sun and Pluto are quincunx. So there's this funky configuration in here. I'll draw it out for you. I really do just want to talk about the square between these two. However, there's a sextile to that and a quincunx to that. So anyways, yeah, fun little drawing on the computer. Let's get serious. The sun at 29 degrees of Gemini, we are going to be feeling like a bit over energized, or way too much information coming at us at once. I mean, Gemini just loves to share information, to gather information, to read and be distracted, and just, it's very young. It's one of the earlier zodiac signs. So that it represents, youthful energy and free spirit, and just playful and fun and flirty. And that's 29 degrees of Gemini. Now, with the moon at 29 degrees of Pisces, besides being the final degree in that sign, it's the final degree. It's only 20 minutes away from coming back to 0 Aries again. And that's, again, the beginning of the zodiac. And the sun will be shifting into 0 Cancer at 5:14 a.m. on the 21st. So that's the summer solstice or the winter solstice, depending on where you live. And that's the sun standing still. So right now, while the sun is at 29 Gemini, and I'm going to put this up Sunday night, the 19th. So this will be the sun. We'll get to feel the sun at this final degree of Gemini and be aware of it for the whole day of the night of the 19th and all the way through the 20th until it shifts early in the morning on the 21st. So write things down. If information comes at you super fast and you just have too much coming at you, write it down, make notes. Yeah, know what I do? You wouldn't believe it. Look, you guys, I'm a Gemini myself. I love Gemini. Tell me, post-it note, post-it note, post-it note, post-it note. I hope you can't read what I wrote, but oh my gosh, it's just like there's so many things I need to do. I do have a whiteboard right there, but I decided to use the post-it notes today. I should use the whiteboard because that way I have to get up. Did I digress? I did. So take the Gemini, and I didn't because I just gave you the absolute perfect example of too much Gemini happening. Now, what do we do when the moon is at the final degree of Pisces? Now, this energy works hard to define the boundaries, but it also, it's perfectly clear that it doesn't know what the boundaries are. Now, that can be perfectly fine too. Either way is absolutely fine because it is what we're working on. So maybe you are feeling it in a sense that, oh, I need to put up some boundaries around me. This is important that I need to put up these boundaries. Or we can just be that sensitive, compassionate person and feel what others around us need and be actually, and sometimes even over feeling. So then we have to put up those boundaries again. So there is a tug of war in a way about those two energies. So we might be feeling an overwhelm of information and, kind of being a bit of a spaz, I would call it, just all over the place. And that Pisces moon will heighten that feeling too. I'm glad it happens in the middle of the night here where I live anyways, because that way I can just, go to bed and just say, hey, I'll hear the dreams and then I'll write them up in the morning. Now, when we are, make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yes. Now, when we are in this last quarter, and again, this last quarter, this lunar phase started, this monthly cycle started May 30th when we had a new moon in Gemini. And we've gone through the first quarter, the full moon, and now we're at the last quarter. So the new moon on May 30th is when we were initiating new things. So let me find those phases for you. I should have wrote them down, but I didn't. So that new moon on May 30th at 9 degrees of Gemini, initiating new goals, new intentions. What did that look like for you? We don't always know where we have our intentions as to what we want to do, but we don't always know exactly what it is because the moon is dark, right? So we think we know. So even with our own intentions and goals that we set on May 30th, also be aware of what happened during that new moon phase as well for the first 2.5 days. What was going on that didn't have anything to do with you and your goal setting, but was something that was significant. So go look at that. The first quarter moon is at 16 Virgo, and that was on June 7. So that first quarter moon is all about, it's that turning point. That's this first square in this lunar phase, the first waxing square between the moon and the sun. That's when the moon up in the sky looks like it's half, right? So that's that first quarter. And that was between the Gemini sun and the Virgo moon. And so what do we feel with that? That we feel work, struggle for some, but hard work, a lot of activity, some challenges, but struggle and challenges don't have to be a negative thing because sometimes it just takes effort to get some things done. All right. So look at that. The next lunar phase was the full moon. And that full moon we just had, since just all takes less than a month, month was on the 14th. So we only had that just a few days back. And that was at 23 Sagittarius. And that full moon is a full awareness, an awareness. It's relationships. It's a conversation. It's dynamic. It was the sun in Gemini and the moon in Sagittarius, a back and forth, full visibility of what's going on in our lives, full awareness of something that we initiated, particularly at the new moon. All right. And now, again, we're at that last quarter, which is today, June 20th. And it is, again, it is until 11:11 p.m., special numbers for lots of people. And immediately the moon's void, of course, but this last quarter moon, late Monday night, Eastern Daylight Time, represents a time of review. So we get to work hard. We get to have patience, make choices off of your own experience, so that's like a wisdom piece. It kind of feels like Capricorn this last quarter, right? Because it's 270 degrees away from the new moon approximately. And in the natural zodiac, that would be Capricorn. That being said, I went kind of deep there. This is where we're working hard on those, releasing what isn't working. This is where we really do a lot of releasing here in this last quarter. It's the last week before we get to the next new moon. And so paying attention to what you've learned from the new moon, what you've experienced, what's grown, what you became aware of. And now we get to harvest what's remaining and what's left. And that's what we get to do with all of that energy. And so I think, yeah, that's great. We're gonna stop with that. And then, sure, I'll just continue. The moon sextile Pluto, and that happens. When did that happen? That happened at 8 p.m. on the 20th. So the moon is pretty active, right? It makes its conjunction to Neptune at 3 in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time. And then it makes its sextile to Venus. That's right over here. And so that is lovely and creative. And that is another way that we can use this last quarter moon with the moon at 29 Pisces, is by being creative, compassionate, getting into the flow of things. All right. So because that Pisces is beautifully creative. And if it makes a connection to Neptune, and then it makes a connection to Venus, it's like, man, oh man. I mean, that's beautiful. That's fun. A little late in the day to go out in the water, but if this is the time of day for you, it's just all of these things. So we can use this to release and let go while the sun is standing still. All right. And we'll get to that solstice forecast for tomorrow. All right. Woo. That was a lot. And there's always more. And I give you guys more on Patreon. You're really welcome to come and join me there. It's wonderful if you could support this channel in any way possible. In this simple way, hit comment, like, and share. Let's do the Astrodice. Or you can just come in and book a session. I am a professional. This is my job for a lot of years, absolutely full time since 2011, but I started in 1988. So I got some time under my belt. What's the additional message? It's quite beautiful. The sun in Gemini in the 11th house. I'm not kidding. There's the sun. Oopsies. There's the sun, Gemini. Isn't that great? As we were just talking about, the sun's final day, its final hurrah in Gemini for 2022. And it did pull up the 11th house. There it is. I did roll that. So that's just like, be social with your friends. The 11th house is your groups, causes that mean something to you. If you like to be political, go get political, join a group. If you are looking for a new metaphysical group to join, go join one. We need to find our tribe. We need to get a little more in alignment with the people that really resonate with us. There's been a lot of divisiveness over these last couple of years because of everything in a lot of ways. And, I remember in the old days when I would have big groups and big meetings and stuff like that. I've always run meetings for some reason or another. We'd go out for dinner. There'd be probably 20 of us at a dinner table and voices would raise. And I would immediately, I'm not aggressive at all, but I would stand up and I'm like, all right, everybody, we promised no politics, no religion. Now go have fun. But if you can have a really healthy debate, it's important to have those conversations too. Let's get back together. I just miss a lot of things. Getting too comfortable being by myself. How about you? It's okay in some ways. People with 12th house planets know what I mean. All right, what does the card want us to? Oh, Spirit Keeper of the North and Eagle Medicine. It's like wintry. So this is in honor of those of you who are in winter solstice. Spirit Keeper of the North. And the North is that wisdom place. I believe that is what it represents. It's like the content, it is, it's the content of wisdom, right? And understanding. So, Spirit Keeper of the North. Wisdom. It's time for incubation. Even though the Northern Hemisphere right now, we are in full summer, as much light as we can possibly have. Southern Hemisphere, this one's really meant for you, but this is also meant for all of us because this final quarter of the lunar phase, so for the next week, it is absolutely about releasing, but we need, and not necessarily incubating, but that is what we do. What do you do in the winter? You go in and you spend more time within, and the energy of incubating and processing and thinking things through and what's important for you. And this last lunar phase has a lot to do with that too. Where we're really incubating and bringing the most important things we're going to harvest and bring to us and release and let go. So there is something about this today's forecast, these cards, the roll of the dice. So get out there, communicate, enjoy life, find those boundaries, be creative. And then the ideas that are important to you, incubate them. Oh, that's a message I just heard too. Because some even at new moons, we don't always have to launch things then. But if you have some new thoughts and some new ideas about what's important to you, it might be a sign that it's just incubate for a little longer. Keep that idea to yourself until, even if you've begun it, until it has some roots of its own. That's a special message for somebody. I'm not sure who. All right. I think I'll leave us with that. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. And thank you so much. And please appreciate you sharing this in your groups, even your newsletters, if you like. Take that link and share it. All right. Have a great day. Namaste.